Do not adjust your tracking. You are now listening to the VHSaturday podcast.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of VHSaturday, the show where we discuss the strange and unusual, odd and obscure VHS tapes that we obtain through thrift, gift, and grift. My name is Henry.
And I'm Allison.
And this week, we are watching a film called Abraxas,
Guardian of the Universe.
My tape doesn't say that.
No, the tape does not say that, but apparently this film poster on the Wikipedia article does. Yeah.
So, this movie is a sci-fi romp. I would briefly describe it as Time Cop and the Terminator had a fucked up flipper baby.
Yeah, it's a Terminator clone.
So, in more ways than one. Allison, Why did we choose to watch Abraxas?
All right, well, as you all know, last week we wrapped up Dogist, a tournament where we watched nothing but dog movies for an entire month, and we wanted to find out who was the top dog of our VHS collection. The winner was a dog named Jerry Lee from a film called K9, starring none other than Mr. Jim Belushi, and who makes a cameo appearance in this film, Abraxas, than James Belushi himself.
But we didn't think it was a cameo because when you flip the box over, first of all, the front of the box shows Jesse Ventura shooting like a laser beam out of his eye.
Yeah. And
which doesn't happen in the movie.
For anyone who's not like a wrestling fan, Jesse Ventura was like...
He was Jesse the Body Ventura.
Yeah, big name wrestler back in the day.
He also was the a governor in
Minnesota.
I remember I was in 5th grade when that happened. And I remember it was a big enough deal that my teacher was talking about it.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't know why celebrities end up in politics so much.
Yeah. And what other celebrity was a governor but Arnold Schwarzenegger?
It's true.
Who
was a Terminator.
Was in Terminator.
And was slated to be in this movie. But it was T2 that he decided to do instead, right? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, wow, what a mistake, Arnold.
Arnie, my boy.
You could have been in Abraxas, bro.
So, the back of the box, let's go over this real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's where we saw Jim Belushi on the back.
Yeah, there's 2 pictures on the back, and one is of a boy in a fiery warehouse, and the other is of Jim Belushi
sitting at a desk with his like, like mouth agape, like.
It's not a great screenshot. They definitely could have picked something.
I mean,
better.
obviously he's like mid discussion, like, hey, your kid's too special needs to go to this school.
Oh my god, we'll get into that. But like the thing that I think is funny is that they don't mention Jim Belushi by name. They just have the picture. So like when we were going through our collection trying to find something to watch this week, I saw that and I was like, wait a second, is that fucking Jim Belushi?
We had to check because we're like, is it? Or is it?
It's just some white guy.
Yeah, it's like Jim Belushi is kind of generic looking. Yeah. Let's be fucking real here. So the movie box says 1 cup, 2 galaxies. Yeah, 2 girls, 1 cup, 2 galaxies, one cup.
1 cup, 2 girls.
A science fiction adventure across space and time, which is an absolute lie.
There's no time travel.
There's no time traveling in this. They barely go across space, I guess.
No, they're in space, but they're like the only shots they show in space are in like that one like control room.
Yeah, and then he just they teleport him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Abraxas, Jesse the Body Ventura, is a cop whose beat spans 2 galaxies. I don't know what that means.
What is a beat?
Whose beat spans 2 galaxies.
Do we all have a beat?
My beat spans 2 galaxies, I'll tell you that.
Do they span 1 galaxy by default? I have so many questions.
Right. Like, I can't quantify this. Is that a lot? I don't know how much a beat is.
I don't know.
Is a normal person's beat 5 galaxies? Is Jesse lacking in his beat?
I don't know, man.
His mission is to intercede when planets seek to destroy themselves through ecological suicide and senseless war. Secundus, played by Sven Ols Thorsen, is his ex-partner turned renegade. He seeks the anti-life equation, a power that could destroy the universe. the two super beings wage an all-out battle that will decide the fate of the Earth. Which is half true, I think, still.
Yeah, it kind of... So, this movie is... It's interesting. I don't even really know, where to start with this one.
Yeah, this movie was interesting, because it's cheesy sci-fi.
Yes.
Filmed in Canada.
Mm-hmm. It did also have a very limited theatrical release in Toronto.
Yep. But
really nowhere else. Otherwise, it was just on video.
Right. And it's I remember when we were watching this, I was like, they're in New York. And you're like, no, they're in space, because they were in space. Like, no, they're in New York now. And she's like, how do you know? I was like, they show a close-up of the new license plate. That's how they say, hey, we're not in space no more, cowboy.
Yeah, I think I blinked and I missed the license.
It's pretty quick. So there's a lot to explain. It's very heavy right from the get-go. Right.
Yeah.
So we got Jesse, Ventura, and Sven, Abraxas and Secundus. These are two stupid names. Let's call them by their real names. Jesse and Sven. Let's be fucking real here.
I don't know. I feel like I'll get them mixed up if I do that. I just remember Secundus. They kept saying Secundus in the movie, in the beginning before they really fully explained everything that was going on, and I was just like, what the fuck?
What's a Secundus?
Yeah, what's an Abraxas?
Something you should see a doctor for.
I'm gonna need to see a doctor after watching this pile of crap.
It's made my Secundus inflamed.
Dude.
So
yeah.
So they're cops of sorts, right?
Yeah, they're kind of dare I say, space cops. They're from this planet somewhere, and this planet has a police force called Finders.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the planet is called Sargasso?
These are the most generic sounding sci-fi names.
It's weird. But basically, they're humans, but they can just live longer.
Over 10,000 years.
Yeah, and I think they're, stronger. And they come built in with what's called an answer box, which is
basically a Google Home.
Yeah. Yeah. And, so, they have all these rules where, a finder can't kill another finder.
Which is kind of it felt reminiscent of Blade Runner, because they have to go they have to terminate people.
Yeah.
But they can't terminate other finders, even if they stop being a finder.
Which they can do. So the whole crux of the plot is that Secundus goes rogue. And so he decides that he wants to find the anti-life equation. And this will exist in his offspring?
So the anti-life equation can destroy the entire universe.
Yeah.
And what also happens is that's what the finders are doing. That's what they're called, finders. They have their entire purpose is to find who has the anti-life equation.
Okay.
And when they scan you, here's the bullshit part. Okay. Theoretically, the finder is supposed to kill you if you have the ability to equate the anti-life equation, right?
So if you have it in you,
yes.
If they scan you and they find that you have it, they're supposed to terminate you. Okay.
Now, if they scan you and you don't know it, you disintegrate.
What the fuck? So it's you die either way.
Right. So I guess it's supposed to be you gotta be honest. Hey, I don't know it.
Okay, Henry, do you have the anti-life equation?
As far as I know, I don't.
As far as I know, I don't either. But what if we do and we just don't know it?
And so that's what the plot is. That's what happens with
the kid.
Yeah. So Secundus goes rogue and he goes to Earth for some reason, and Abraxas is following him.
But this is what I mean, though. The reason why he goes to Earth.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really understand that. Because if the point is he needs to find who has the anti-life equation, both he and Abraxas have that job, correct? Like, if they're both finders, that's their objective.
But he's gone rogue now, and he went rogue beforehand. That's why Abraxas was chasing him. He wasn't good in the beginning.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so you have Abraxas and Secundus, they're both finders.
Right.
The finder's job is to find the one with the anti-life equation.
Right.
But Secundus is going to Earth to find it, and this is bad?
Because he's going to use it.
Oh, because he wants to use it.
Yes, because he's already gone. That's what I'm saying. He's already gone rogue from before the movie even started.
So if they scan you for the anti-life equation, that means that like they get the anti-life equation?
I don't think so. I think they get to use you because they awaken that in Tommy later. That's how come he gets his psychic powers.
Okay.
So
seems like a pretty like faulty system.
It's pretty stupid.
Okay.
So he goes to not Toronto at all.
Quote unquote New York.
It's New York.
Definitely
New York. And he's looking for a birth-giving human.
Right. But this is what I mean, that like, so he needs to, like we didn't mention that there are people on the Finder planet that are like scientists.
Uh-huh.
And
they're like directing them what to do.
Yeah, and they're like the kind of like exposition and like what's going on. It like constantly cuts to them in their like control room, and I guess they're like viewing the finders on their computer screens or whatever. And
somehow.
Yeah, and they're like telling us what's happening.
It's like in Power Rangers, Zord's got the viewing globe.
Yeah.
Behold the viewing globe. I don't know how they're watching them.
I don't know. But they're watching them and telling us what's happening and giving us some insight. And I could have sworn they said something that like Secundus is going to Earth because his offspring has a high chance of holding the anti-life equation, and he knows that, so that's why he goes to Earth.
Yeah, because I think he knew that he had a higher probability. He's like, I can just use that.
But like, how does he know? Why is it that someone who becomes a finder has a higher probability to like breed a child that contains the equation that they're trying to find?
I don't know. It's something else about like a negative universe or some bullshit.
What?
Like,
I really tried to pay like super close attention.
We did pay attention.
Much more than a lot of other movies we watch. Like, I'll admit, I'm like, look, August is over. It's a new month. We're talking about like a standalone movie. I can give this all the attention in the world. And
you chose this.
And I'm still just like, bro,
this is what you wanted.
This is my fault. But I really tried, okay? I tried.
So he finds a car, and it's this guy and girl, they're like a couple, and he punches out the window, yanks the guy out, then he gets inside the car, and then it's not until after he's like opened the door, sat down, and turns her, does she try to get out of the car? Yeah. It's like kind of a delayed response. It's like you just saw him punch the window out
and throw your boyfriend out the window
and then open the door. Yeah. It's like the last thing she had to wait for was for him to like buckle his seatbelt.
Yeah, like, for real.
And she's like, oh no, now we'll get out. And they go drive off. He knows how to drive a car somehow. Yeah. And Jesse Ventura's chasing him. Jesse Ventura, for the record, sounds like Kevin from The Office in this entire film.
He really does.
Entire film, he sound like this.
Yeah.
Why use many words when few words do trick? Like, it's...
If I had wanted to hurt you, I could have done it years ago. You know that. We must go now.
I waste time, say lot word when few word do trick.
It's really jarring. On the opposite side, Sven just sounds like he's doing an Arnold impression the entire time. Now, he is from, like, Germany. So maybe it wasn't too much of a stretch. I want to say they're like, can you sound slightly more Austrian?
Yeah.
Because we were going to have, you know.
Arnold was going to play the role of Abraxas, though. So it's interesting that, like, I don't know if they changed it because of Terminator.
I think they did, because, like, if we recall, even within Terminator, he was going to play Kyle Reese originally.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But they changed it because they were like, you know, it would be better the other way around.
Yeah.
By having the Terminator be this big guy.
Very true.
Good call.
Mm-hmm. Very good call.
So, like, I think it would make sense if they got him to if it was going to be Arnold and Sven, and then Arnold backs out, and they get Jesse Ventura, and then they're like, hey Sven, so Jesse is a big name. Can we?
I see.
Do some shuffling here.
Yeah.
It happens in film all the time. So then he decides to impregnate her.
Yeah.
And
he does it through this, like, immaculate conception where he puts his hand over her stomach and it glows blue. And then that's it.
And then she screams.
Yeah.
And then the baby's born like 6 minutes later.
Literally 2 minutes. Because when that happens, like, and Abraxas is chasing him, trying to find him, like, the speaker box thingy tells him, like, Abraxas, you only have 2 minutes, essentially, to, like, terminate the pregnancy. Because she's, like, giving birth, like, right away in the middle of the woods.
She's, like, screaming.
Yeah.
Which, I gotta say, for an alien impregnation against somebody's will in a movie, this was the classiest way I've seen it in a B movie.
Yeah. B
Like,
movies tend to kind of, like, not give a shit.
They try to, like, be, like, very edgy.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, man, we're just gonna, like, put his hand on her stomach.
Yeah. It's like the touch football equivalent.
The touch football equivalent of alien impregnation films.
Yep. I mean, respect. I respect that.
Honestly, that's fine.
Because when I saw where it was going, I was like, please.
Yeah.
Don't.
It was it's like, oh, I'm not uncomfortable.
Right.
Thanks, Abraxas.
Yeah, so, like, he's getting the countdown. He's sitting there in front of this woman with a gun pointed at her, Abraxas is, and he's like...
Oh, right. Yeah, Abraxas eventually finds her.
Yeah.
But
time is running out.
Sven has already ran off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so he's like... The speaker box is like, you have 15 seconds and whatever, and he can't do it. He's like, I can't kill an innocent woman and child.
There isn't, like, Command also, like, yelling at him to do it, too?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because, you know, like, the fate of the universe, blah, 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 so...
Yeah. It's like he has a high probability of making an offspring that has the potential to know the anti-life equation.
Who wrote this?
It's like listen, he has the ability to possibly make a baby that might know this thing eventually. So we have to kill. This is like, would you kill baby Hitler? Like,
yeah, that's exactly what it is. And it's also like the fucking, yeah, like the, what's that philosophical, the railway car scenario.
Right. I feel like it's even less of that, though, because this is entirely theoretical. This child may never know the anti-life equation. It is all a possibility that, like, what is his name? Succubus? Secundus? Secundus's offspring have a higher chance of knowing the anti-life equation. So we're going to kill this kid because he might know it.
Right.
It's like, what?
So Secundus is just never allowed to have kids?
I guess.
I just don't, because, like...
Just don't teach him the math.
Another thing that we find out about the Finders is that they're basically like Jedis where they have to be, like, celibate.
Yeah.
I wonder, is that because they have this higher probability to produce the anti-life
We don't
equation?
go. The movie doesn't go that deep.
No, it doesn't.
I feel like it's because they're probably like just weird and like they're like a very hands-off kind of like people.
I guess.
Like, look how we just saw him have sex. He puts his hand on her stomach for like a minute, and then like 2 minutes later, they got a baby. Like, they're not like humans where they're doing this for, you know, fun and recreation. It's just they're like, would you like a baby? I'm gonna put my hand on your tummy. Ah, there we go.
That's how Jesus was born, you know.
Hope it was as good for Secundus. What's the girl's name?
Sonia.
Sonia. Hope it
Her
was-
real name is Marjorie.
Hope it was as good for Marjorie as it was for Secundus. Speaking of Marjorie.
Yeah, Jim Belushi's wife at the time.
Yeah.
Wow, that explains a lot. It was hilarious because literally we got done watching the movie and I was in the bathroom brushing my teeth and Henry comes up with his phone and he's like, dude, the main woman in the movie, like, take one guess why she was in it. And I just like pulled out of my ass completely. I was like, I don't know, Jim Belushi's wife. And he's just like, yes, oh my God, how did you know? I was like, I just guessed.
She was in 6 movies, all of them with Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
They were together for 2 years. And then she was nothing after. They were together just for her to try to advance her career. And when it wasn't going anywhere, they bailed.
Yeah, I mean, shit, let's be honest. The entire reason we picked this movie out of an entire stack is because of the absolute monumental weight that Jim Belushi carries.
So she gets a baby.
Yes. And she's like
about to throw it over like the bridge.
The bridge, yeah, because she's just like, yo, this baby's like a product of, you know, something that I didn't want to happen. So
Like-
I'm just gonna yeet it out of existence.
It's like I know she wasn't violated, but you still would feel very violated.
Yeah.
Like-
Yes, absolutely. She still had to give birth in the middle of the fucking woods in the wintertime in Toronto.
With no pain, killers, and 2 minutes of fucking prep.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even like process what's going on.
Right.
It takes longer to microwave a burrito.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's fucked up. Like, so yeah, of course it was like probably super traumatic for her. But
Yeah.
ultimately she decides to keep the baby because it's like you can't just have a baby and throw it off a fucking bridge. Especially when it's all like wrapped up in a little blanket and it's looking at you. I mean, the baby that they showed was not a newborn.
Right, we said that, but then I said, you know, I mean, he went from nothing to 9 months essentially in the course of 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So
by the time she got to the bridge, he was at least like 6 months.
just rapid growing.
Yeah. I thought of it like it was some kind of continuity error, and then you're like, well, you know. And I'm like, shit, okay, yeah, you're right. That's perfectly explainable in this context.
Yeah, it makes sense in this movie.
It's like, you got me there, Abraxas.
It's one of those times usually you see this movie, you're like, that is definitely not a newborn.
Yeah.
But in this movie, we're like, you know, fine.
Right.
So the baby's name is Tommy.
Yeah, she names him Tommy.
They were calling him also the Culminator. Because they're finders, and the one that is born is the Culminator.
I don't know if it's Culminator or like Collator. Colmator. I think it's Colmator.
You're right, it's Culminator.
Culmator.
Culminator sounds better, though.
Culminator. The Culminator. Yeah, I like that better.
So he's his name Tommy.
Secundus is trying to find him because he knows that he exists. He ran away because Abraxas was there chasing him, like when the baby was born, so he couldn't just like snatch him up right then and there. He goes on this chase trying to locate him,
Right.
like looking for Sarah Connor.
And this is when he's like going through like we had a weird 5-year like time warp.
Yes.
And I don't remember if it was before or after he's like running through the woods and he hijacks like a fucking Winnebago.
Oh, yeah. That was a little bit... I mean, no, that's like on the right track. Because he's still in the woods. And he finds people like camping.
And he tries to like rob them of their car and they throw the keys in the fire pit. I'm like, that's a stupid move to do when a Jesse the Body Ventura's holding you by your throat.
Yeah.
But like it doesn't I have was he just wandering looking for fucking Sarah Connor basically for 5 fucking years?
I don't know, because it's also like, you know, by the time we see them again, Tommy is like 6.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
But like considering how fast he grows, for all we know, it could have been like a month. You know what I mean? Like they don't specifically say how much time has passed.
She does in a Sarah Connor-esque like monologue after they show.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I just assume that he's like 6 or so.
Yeah, he's 6 years old. Like she said, it's been like 5 or 6 years, and like so he doesn't talk.
Right.
So
and this is where Jim Belushi comes in.
Right. So she also works at like a store, right? She works at like
some like local
grocery store.
Yeah,
sorts.
with like kind of like organic local stuff.
Like the cop and her were like doing shots of wheatgrass, and he asks her out. And before
he's got wheatgrass all over his face, and she's like
doing the thing like wiping her face, like motioning. No one really does that. If you're just the two people, you're just like, yo, you got something. You know what I mean? Like if you're not in a group setting, you don't need to like motion to somebody.
I don't know. I think maybe like because it was just them, and it was like he was trying to segue into more like intimate moment. She's just kind of like, don't ruin this type thing.
No, I still feel like you just be like, you got something.
People go about these things different ways, Henry.
I'm just saying, it's weird.
There's a lot in this movie that's weird and not really like understandable.
But yeah, so
like because Tommy's like 6, he's in school now.
He doesn't talk.
And he doesn't talk,
So
and the other kids are like weirded out by him.
They bully him.
Yeah.
And
Jim Belushi is his principal.
right. And calls her over.
Sonia.
I almost called her Marjorie. I was like, God damn it, what's the fucking character's name?
Well, I mean, we're calling him
I almost called her Sarah.
Sarah Connor. We can call her Sarah Connor.
It's basically what it is. She's basically Sarah Connor.
Yeah, 100%.
It's like, call Sarah Connor in there and like, hey, your kid doesn't talk. And she's like, yeah, well, he's been trying. He's like, sometimes I try to do like, boof, yeah, just try to scare them. You know, make sure they really can't talk. Like, and she's like, yeah, he can't talk. I think he's legitimately mute. And he basically says your kid's too special needs to like go to the school.
Right. And she's like, that's pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
Because it is.
It is pretty fucked up. Like, what school doesn't have special needs classes?
Right?
Like,
especially because it looks like they're in a small town.
It's like a public school. Like,
yeah.
It's like they're in New York, and it's just like normal part of New York. It's just public school. Who you have a special needs course.
Yeah, it's not like New York City. It's like small town New York.
Even in New York City, where it's a big ass school, at that point, it would be like, yeah, you got higher probability of having more special needs students.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to the playground. They're picking on him. And this is when we first see Tommy's latent powers as a culminator.
Yeah, he can make the bully
piss his pants. And bully runs off.
This is the power that the fate of the universe rests on, by the way.
This is the anti-life equation.
Yeah.
making kids piss their pants. I got Firestarter vibes from this, from like Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
I was definitely getting Firestarter vibes because the next scene they're in the bathroom and the bully's like, I don't know what you did or how you did it. I'm gonna make you pay. And he's about to like hit the kid, and the kid like flings him into the bathroom stall. And then
you hear a flush. So we can assume that he gave him some kind of like
psychic swirly.
Yeah.
That is the power. This is what happens when you give a 6-year-old the ultimate power to end the universe.
Mm-hmm.
They make their bullies piss their pants and give them a swirly without having to lift a finger.
I love that.
No man should have this much power.
No one man should have all that power.
What the fuck happens next?
Let's see. Secundus is like hot on the trail. He starts like stealing cars. We have the scene at the diner where like he sits down to order food and he doesn't know how a menu works. And so like the waitress just gives him one of everything on the breakfast menu and he eats it all. And then she gives him the bill. And then he's like, what's this? And she's like, it's the bill. Everyone gets one. And he's like, huh. And he just like crumples it up and puts it in his mouth and walks out.
He's like, what's this? It's your bill. And it's like, did I order this? Everybody gets one. Thank you. And he like puts
Chomp.
it, that he eats and he walks out because he was already wanted for murder at that point.
Yeah.
Because before that, he was going around. He had tracked down Sarah Connor and went to her store, but it was like after hours. And some guy's like, hey, buddy, this is closed. He's like, I'm looking for birth givers. And he's like,
oh, you looking for girls? You're looking for women.
Yeah, there's no girls down here, but there's exotic dancers down there. Yeah, that's what you want. And he's like, I don't know what exotic dancers are. And then the answer box explains what a stripper is.
Attack.
Hey, yo! It's closed! Can't you read or what?
I'm looking for a man, a woman.
Women! Ah, you're looking for women. Like exotic dancers.
I'm not familiar with the term exotic dancer.
Exotic dancers are birthing members of this species performing contemporary fertility rites.
What the hell was that?
That's my answer box.
Hey, listen, pal. Ain't no exotic dancers here in these parts. Not in this town, anyways.
Shame.
Yeah, and so then there's like this scene where he goes to a strip club, and apparently it was like cut down to give the film a PG-13 rating.
Right.
So,
we need to release the Damian Lee cut to get this proper R rating, how it was meant to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
The world deserves to see Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe.
Guardian of the Galaxy.
I almost said Defender of the Universe. That's Voltron.
Yeah.
Voltron, Defender of the Universe.
Oh my god.
Guardians of the Galaxy. Abraxas, Guardian of the Universe. Adjectives.
It's fucking stupid.
So, yeah. I'm assuming that's then he tries to like touch her for some reason.
Yeah, like he wants to impregnate another woman. I don't remember why.
It's like he was still looking for Tommy.
Yeah, but like he was looking for women, and it's like, why are you looking for women?
I think he's trying to see if one of them is Sarah Connor. I think he's just trying to find Sarah Connor again because she's got Tommy.
But he didn't act that way towards the waitress, so he doesn't think that every woman is.
Or maybe he was like, no, that's not her. Like maybe he did. Like he just.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. This movie moves really fast.
Yeah.
Like, especially in the beginning, there's a lot of, I guess the way that they do all of the exposition isn't that bad. There's a lot of exposition, but I feel like for a story like this, it's better that they just get it over with and get on with the story. They didn't really explain a whole lot, but I mean, for what they did explain, I guess it was fine.
Because like Secundus is looking for Tommy, but like Abraxas' answer box is able to shield him. Because that's not going to separate Tommy from Sarah Connor at some point, and that's how Secundus is able to track him down. Because they're separated.
Because it was when they were in the barn.
Yeah.
Right? Like Tommy, after the whole thing with the bully, Secundus comes up to the school where they were, and he
threatens to start killing everybody.
Yes. And so the cops show up, and Tommy gets scared, so he runs away, and he's running through the woods or whatever. He's running. This scene really fucking bothered me, by the way. He's running through this, like, field of these trees, and the trees are, like, not fully grown. They're more like bushes. They've got these, like, long branches, but, like, they're pretty separated. It's like if you've ever been to an orchard, you know, there's, like, rows in between the trees. And so it's like he's running through this row between the trees, but he's running, like, into the branches when there was plenty of space to not run into the branches. And so I don't know if they were doing that for, like, because those close-up shots of, like, from his perspective, the camera was, like, just running into the branches and stuff.
Right.
I don't know if they're, like, trying to make that shot more interesting or something, but it's like, dude, you could run so much faster if you're not running into the branches. What are you doing?
The Secundus also, like, steals a car.
Yeah.
Chasing him through that.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, Tommy ends up in this barn, and then at the same time, Abraxas and Sarah Connor are chasing after him, and they find him in the barn. And then Abraxas is like, I want to talk to him one-on-one. Can I take him in the car? Sarah Connor's like, yeah. And that's when Secundus finds them?
Yeah. We missed the part where, like, they go to her house, and, like, Abraxas and, like, Sarah Connor's, like, apprehensive of Abraxas at first.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, you could have killed me. Why didn't you? And that's because he's like, yes, or does he say, he's like, I could have killed you, but I didn't. And she's like, yeah, why? And he's like, you were innocent. I can't kill an innocent woman and an innocent child.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she realizes, okay, Abraxas is actually a good guy.
Yes.
And like Abraxas, like, explained everything. That's when we get some more exposition. And he's like, I need some alone time with Tommy. And they go in the car, and he's driving. He's like, I know why you can't talk. I know why you can't use many words. Few word do trick.
That's right.
And it's like, I am 10,000 years old. That's a little bit more than 6, yeah? Ha 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 ha. Like, like, that was a weird try to hear him make, like, some, like, hey, buddy, I'm not quite your dad, but I'm gonna be your dad, basically.
Yeah.
And this feels so shoehorned. Sarah Connor basically likes Abraxas. She, like, puts the moves on him.
Mm-hmm. She kisses him. Then she's like, you ever kissed a woman before? He's like, no. And basically explaining that it's against the rules and whatever, and she doesn't care.
Yeah.
Single mom, probably horny. And then we get all of these scenes of, like, Abraxas in the house, like, but, like, with his shirt off. And he's got this, like, very, like, meaty, hairy chest.
He's the body.
Yeah.
He's Jesse the Body Ventura.
That's for sure. And he's just sitting upright in bed, like...
That's how he sleeps.
Okay.
He sleeps sitting up in bed. I've sleeps like that sometimes, but not on purpose. I've fallen asleep like that. But he's just like, time to rest now. Like,
bruh.
wasn't he, like, sitting there with Tommy also?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. And then
stuff happens.
We're already almost at the end of the movie.
Movie's short, it's 87 minutes.
Yeah, like this
there's a lot of nothing that happens.
Yeah, honestly, it's true. Like, for an action movie, honestly, not a lot of action. Not
Yeah.
gonna lie, not a whole bunch.
Cocaine Wars. Now that's an action movie.
Yeah. Let's
Hands of
see.
Steel. That's an action movie.
So, like, basically, a bunch of shenanigans happen with, like, Abraxas chasing Secundus and vice versa. And then eventually it all culminates. See what I did there?
I was gonna say it if you didn't say it.
It culminates into
A warehouse.
yeah, this like super fucking like Terminator-esque climax.
It is not a
scene.
factory, but
No.
there is definitely sparks and smoke going off for some reason in this storage warehouse.
Yeah. So they're in the warehouse, and then I guess like according to the scientists up in space, we learn that Tommy has reached a point in his development where he's now able to spontaneously combust. And so while he's getting chased by Secundus in this warehouse, all the stuff is lighting on fire, and we get these really funny scenes of like when things near Tommy light on fire, it will like show this shot of the flames going up and Tommy running away, except they used like an adult actor to play Tommy in those scenes.
Yeah, he just covers his face with his
Yeah.
hands and he like runs past the fire.
Yeah, if you're not paying attention, you'll probably miss it.
He also squats down. He's like hunched over, like he's
Yeah, but you can totally tell. It's like, oh, that's a grown ass man wearing the same clothes, just like
XL instead of a small.
exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that was funny. I think that was the only time we like laughed out loud.
I love that it, we heard that there was a shot of that and we're like, oh, here it is. Here it
Yep.
is. And then like we were blessed with the fact that this happened multiple times.
Yeah, it's great.
And fucking Secundus is like, Tommy, I understand. Blah 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 blah. He's like explaining his powers to like
Mhm.
Tommy, and Secundus starts having like a showdown, a fight with Abraxas, who shows up, right?
Yes.
And the cops show up also, but they don't go in.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abraxas scans Secundus, and Secundus don't know the anti-life equation, so he disintegrates, and then Tommy is like popping off, blowing shit up, and we hear a voiceover from Jesse Ventura going, because he was like, he had fallen off like a edge of like the warehouse. It was like hanging. He was like reaching up for Tommy, and he's like, I didn't know if Tommy was going to explode me or reach out his hand to lift me up.
Mm-hmm.
And then his mom is like, Tommy, fucking help him, dumbass. Like, not really what she says, but basically, and they help Jesse Ventura up, and like Tommy, realizes like, you're a good guy.
Yeah, I'm kind of confused about this whole thing because the whole movie they're talking about how a finder can't kill another finder. But like, I mean, Abraxas just straight up kills Secundus at the end. And there's no consequences.
Yeah.
So it's like, why?
Why couldn't I just scan him
Yeah,
a long time ago?
Yeah, why couldn't he?
Why
have
can't I
done
just
that?
like, hey, Secundus, you know the anti-life equation? No. Oh, no!
Yeah, like that
Like-
could have saved us 80 minutes of our life. Why did we have to go through
It's
all
like
this?
it's like, Secundus, get your hand off her. No. Do you know the anti-life equation? Fuck.
Yeah.
Like-
I know. It's so ridiculous. And it's like, how come a finder isn't exempt from that? Because then what happens is like the scientists in space are like, hey, Abraxas, you gotta come back home for your next assignment. But then Abraxas is like,
I think I want to stay here.
yeah, I'm gonna stay here.
How's
And-
that sound, Tommy?
And they're like,
yeah.
and they're just like, what? You can't stay there. You're a finder. You have missions. And he's just like, actually, I don't want to be a finder anymore. I'm giving it up.
And they're like, all right.
Yeah.
And then the cop's like, you got some explaining to do. And he's like, ha ha ha. I'm a finder. And like,
it's just like, okay, so you can give up finderhood. Like, you can't kill another finder.
but you can apparently.
But you can. And then you can just stop being a finder. And if you want. So, like, so, like, you can't revoke someone's findership. Like, they have to give it up. Is it like they're
even when they're being bad?
Yeah, because it's like, okay, Secundus is literally trying to destroy the universe. But these rules are in place. Well, you can't kill him. It's against the rules.
It's like why? He's not acting as a finder now.
Yeah.
He was a finder.
Yeah.
Therefore, that immunity should be over.
Right.
Is it like how ex-presidents basically don't go to jail?
Yeah. Or I was going to say it's honestly a lot like real life police officers.
I was going to say that too. But,
where,
you know,
they can just kind of do stuff and...
Yeah. I came to that same conclusion.
Yeah.
Speaking of the cops, though, like the fact they're like, you got some explaining to do. He's like, nah. And they're like, what a guy.
Yeah.
They're literally like,
right?
they literally, after he's like, ugh. And they tell him he needs to explain things, and then they go off with some sequel bait, and then the cops are like, that guy, he's sure swell.
Hey, you got some explaining to do.
You're a good man, Officer Sharp. This world needs good men.
You really are some kind of off-road cop, aren't you?
I'm terrestrial now.
How am I going to write this up in a report?
I think you should scale it down to acceptable proportions.
Why?
You know, I think I'm gonna like living here. This planet's got a great deal of potential.
I kind of like that guy. Let's go.
Coffee and donuts?
Yeah.
Like, they start praising him to each other.
It's just so fucking dumb. Like, I felt like this was all quite a big waste of time. Like, so much of this didn't have to happen. The rules don't even really make sense.
We glossed over a lot because there's so much nothingness that just happens.
Honestly, we didn't gloss over that much. Like, we
hit the plot points, but there's like stuff that happens.
Everything in between is like people talking to people about stuff that doesn't really have anything to do with anything and doesn't really pay off or go anywhere.
Now, here's the crux of this entire thing. We were both strangely compelled to watch the movie, though. We were both like bored and yet simultaneously intrigued.
I think when I was watching it, because, like, let's be real, this movie is right in there with movies like Hands of Steel and stuff that we've reviewed in the past, where it's like, it's, like late 80s, early 90s, action, sci-fi, schlock, low budget. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad. That's just something we experience with this genre.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know, like, I was hoping, like, my opinion was, when I first started watching the movie, I was like, okay, this is moving really fast, so I'm just gonna pay attention and, like, try to get as much information as I can so I can understand what's happening. But then, like, nothing ever really paid off, so, like, then the movie was over and I was like, oh.
Yeah, there's not a lot of payoff to like anything.
Yeah, I was like, I paid attention for literally no reason.
I remember, like, I was on my phone, but I was like paying a lot of attention at the same time. There just wasn't a visually happening for me to like actually have to look at the screen.
Yeah, like there were explosions every once in a while or like gunshots, but nothing really, like, I don't know. You compare it again to other movies along the same vein that we've watched before, and it just doesn't compare.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of like action in the middle. There was like a chase scene at the beginning, another chase scene, and then like...
There's some fight scenes here and there, but nothing crazy, especially for the leading actor being a fucking wrestler.
Right.
There wasn't a whole lot of, like, at least throw in some, like, cool wrestling shit or something.
Yeah. It's pretty sad. And again, Jim Belushi. Only 2 minutes. He's a cameo, but they put him on the fucking box.
Yeah, and like his entire role is like, oh, by the way, your son is too special to attend this school. Fuck you. Like, what the fuck? Jesus Christ. I like Jim Belushi better as a cop. Am I right, folks?
You're just being a dick in here.
Yeah. What? That's his role. Okay, that's the roles that he plays. And sometimes it's good. Sometimes I like it, and sometimes it's like,
it's kind of funny that he's saying this to his wife.
Yeah, that's true.
His wife's
it's like, it takes two to tango, pal.
Oh, you know what we didn't mention? When she goes to register the baby.
Oh my God.
And they're like, who's the father? And she's like, I don't know who the father is. He's like, what do you mean you don't know who the father is? You need to have a father. You only have one person written down on a certificate. You get to register him. Well, I don't know who the father is. Fuck you. You need 2 names to be on this fucking form to register the baby. It's like, no, you don't. There's a bajillion babies out there that are born where they legitimately don't know who the father is. The fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like, oh, is this a new concept to you, police officer?
And then she gets kicked out of her parents' house too. Because the dad's like, who's the father? And she's like, I don't know. He's like, you're hiding this, or you're a floozy.
Yeah.
And it's like, didn't she have a boyfriend that got thrown out the fucking window by Secundus?
That's another thing. Hold the fucking phone. We saw the boyfriend. He gets yanked out of the car and thrown to the side, but that's not enough to kill a man.
Right. So either
he's got to be alive out there somewhere. What happened to him?
Yeah, it's just be like, yeah, dude, I took her out to make out point, and this fucking
make out point, New York.
So you can Google Map that. It's a thing. So it's they go to make out point, basically, right? Mm-hmm. As teenagers do, and he gets yeeted out the fucking window, and I'm assuming he's not dead. But you corroborate that with the cops. Be like, yeah, dude, this crazy guy yanked me out, got in the car, and drove off with her. Thank God she is fucking safe.
Yeah.
And then she I have a baby. Fuck, were you pregnant this whole time? And that trauma made you give fucking birth? That's a thing that happens.
I mean, they said they're we can't explain this. We don't get it. And she's like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. So I don't know, man.
The fact she didn't tell her parents, the parents were who's the father? They don't assume.
She can't just say, oh, it was Bobby. And now he's dead and I need help.
Right. Because if Bobby, let's call him Bobby.
That's fine. Just the boy, the name of the boy you go steady
I don't think. Yeah.
No, he was in the movie for literally 1 minute.
Yeah, opening scene. Yeah. And so if he was killed, remember that guy that took me out and I went on a date Friday? Well, he got fucking killed by some crazy guy at Makeout fucking point. And I was driven away in the car, and then I had the baby. And I didn't know I was. You can skip over the whole entire alien impregnation thing. You really could be I didn't know I was pregnant with Bobby's baby. And then we went to the park, and then crazy guy kills Bobby, drives off with me, throws me out the car. I go into some kind of traumatic shock, and I end up giving birth right there in the fucking park. And Tommy's fucking dead now. Or no, Bobby's fucking dead now, Dad. Mm-hmm. So then, then their parents would be like, "Well, fuck, man, yeah, they can't expect a dead guy to support the baby."
Yeah, but then we wouldn't get the plot of her moving in.
Yes, maybe it would be 7 minutes.
Yeah, which it should have been. To be fucking real, none of this needed to happen.
None of it.
And it's just really annoying.
As he's literally as he's impregnated her, be like, Secundus, what's the anti-life equation? Oh,
I know.
That's all you have to do. That's how you just kill anybody in this entire fucking series.
And so then that also begs the question. So okay, Tommy has the anti-life equation. Is he's just been convinced as a child not to do anything with it?
It's please don't like we know you have these fantastical powers.
Pinky promise.
Pinky promise, Tommy. And I know you can't like actually speak, so just like nod if you understand what we're saying.
So like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like they're just gonna believe him that he's gonna be okay? I mean, I guess if like you have the anti-life equation and Abraxas is your stepdad, like you don't want to cross him.
Yeah, I guess at that point it's
then
like
it's like, Tommy, do your fucking homework or I'm gonna scan you.
Scanning won't disintegrate him.
Oh,
because he knows it.
Wait a second. So like, wait, can he still just like, is Tommy immortal? Can he kill him? Can he die?
I think Tommy might be partially like, if not immortal, I think he might live longer than a normal human because he's like half whatever fucking alien this is that's not quite human. Where they have a 10,000 year lifespan. That's gotta suck. Like all your friends are gonna die.
Yeah.
And then your new friends you make are gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
And your new friends are gonna die.
And then he's gonna end up in the school being like 1,000 years old, like Edward Cullen. Like, how do you do, fellow kids?
That's so creepy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, look, you're like 100 years old. Why are you hanging out in high school?
Mm-hmm.
Go hang out at the strip club. What the fuck?
Yeah, dude.
You look young. You look like you're 20. Go hang out at the strip club. Why are you hanging out in the high school?
It's like the teachers aren't like,
you sure have been here a long time, Edwin.
yeah, what the fuck? We're just talking about Twilight.
I never seen. Oh, I know. I did watch the first one, and I remember I watched.
That's all you need to see, in my opinion.
I watched it, and like the editing on that movie, the pacing is so ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
My ex didn't believe me that I wasn't watching some like hacked together edit with like riff tracks or something like that. Because that's what I tend to do, you know.
Yeah.
And she's like, this isn't the normal movie. I was like, yeah, this is the normal movie. She's like, no fucking way. She did not believe me for the life of me. I could not convince her. This is a DVD rip I got off of fucking Pirate Bay.
Yeah.
This is legitimately the actual fucking movie. This isn't some like, we're gonna edit out all the bullshit part like at hack that, you know.
I was like prime demographic for Twilight. I never read the books, but like when the movies came out, I was like, that's lame. I'm not going to see that. But then I went and visited my my family in Indiana, and like even my cousin was like, "Oh, Dad, can we watch Twilight? Can we watch Twilight?" And they're like, "Yeah, let's all watch Twilight." And I was like, "It's weird. That's like their family like bonds over watching Twilight." And my uncle's just like, I mean, they're really stupid movies, but they're fun. We like them. They're like so bad it's good. And I was like, okay, I can respect that. And so when I finally got around to watching Twilight, I was like, yeah, it is kind of so bad it's good.
They are laughable, but it's one of those things like where I draw the line with so bad it's good is when it's like, oh, there are people that legitimately like this.
Yeah.
Because they're so bad it's good where it's like The Room. Nobody says, oh, The Room? I love The Room. No one says it without being, I love The Room because it's so fucking bad.
Yeah.
My sister was like obsessed with Twilight. I will hand it to Stephanie Meyer. My sister read those books. Mm-hmm. My sister's a fucking idiot.
I think they probably work better as books, especially if you're like, a teen or tweenage girl. And you're reading it.
She was a grown-ass adult when she read them. But...
Okay, well, like very self-insert, fantasy kind of. It's fine. I don't think there's really anything wrong with it, except when you get into the part where like Edward and Bella have a baby, and then Jacob falls in love with the baby as soon as it's born, and then yeah, that's pretty fucking weird. And
then the baby in the movie looks terrifying.
Yeah, they
terrible
did this like
CG.
Crazy CG like.
And that was the fixed version. You should see like when you see the first edit of it that they didn't use.
I don't think I ever saw that.
That's the one that's really really creepy.
Oh, damn.
That's the one you probably actually have seen.
Well, I don't know.
That's the one that's gone viral on the internet is the one where it's like like from the deleted scene kind of scenario where it's like, we almost went with this and decided, oh, that's nightmare fuel.
Fuck.
And then they did something marginally better, but it's still fucking terrible.
Yeah. That's kind of how I feel about like 50 Shades of Grey too, because 50 Shades of Grey is basically just like a bastardization of Twilight.
It was a Twilight fanfic.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, in a way, it's like Twilight, but worse. And the movies are just so bad.
I
don't know. I think
50 Shades movies.
Oh boy, they're good. Like if you want to watch something really fucking stupid, yeah, it's good. I mean, they're bad, but like I don't know. They're kind of like guilty pleasure in a bad movie kind of way for me.
Oof. I don't know if I ever want to do that. I got plenty of bad movies to satiate me.
You got plenty of time.
Do I?
Yeah, because, you know, as soon as like Valentine's Day comes around, it's 50 Shades season, baby. Yeah, so what did you think of Abraxas?
Abraxas is I don't know why I feel so compelled to pronounce it like that.
Any kind of entertainment you have to squeeze out of this experience, like I understand.
So Abraxas is an interesting time cop Terminator clone. And I would say I don't recommend it. But it is one of those movies where, like I said, I was strangely compelled watching it. But then after it was done, I was just left with all these questions of like, well, why not this?
Yeah, we kind of said something similar about Daniel and the Superdogs. And I mean, I thought that movie was compelling, but in a different way. Like Abraxas, I also would not recommend it to anyone. I think the only scenario I could see this movie being like having a place is if literally like you have some friends over and you're all drinking and you just want to put some like schlocky bullshit on the VCR in the background just as like a gimmick. Because yeah, occasionally there's explosions and stuff, and enough to where if you're not paying attention and you look over every once in a while, you might see something. But like literally other than that, no, I don't think it's worth watching at all. Like there's so many better movies.
100%.
Watch Terminator.
Watch Terminator. Watch Time Cop.
Watch Hands of Steel.
Oh, yeah.
Watch Hands of Steel.
Watch Hands of Steel. That's a better Terminator ripoff.
100%.
That was a good Terminator ripoff.
I know.
Even had some good Terminator like ripoff scenes where it's like, oh man, they're going 1-to-1.
Yeah.
And I love that.
But they
it's
tried.
So blatant.
And they tried. In this movie, like they didn't do shit. Like there wasn't any like special effects or anything super like alien or robotic or super sci-fi.
Even their like sci-fi control room kind of just looked like it could have been on Earth.
Yeah.
No one looked sci-fi at all. Like,
yeah, it was really lame. I did not like this movie. I don't recommend it.
Did we
Jim
even see what the
Belushi
control box looked like?
No.
The prop was like so like for
you just hear it. You just hear it talking.
Yeah, and talk and like sometimes it's very like robotic and sometimes it's kind of sassy. I'm like, I can't tell. Are you like sentient AI or like what the fuck?
I don't know, dude. Fuck this movie. Jim Belushi was not enough to carry it.
The poster's cool though.
The poster is very cool, but don't let it fool you.
It fooled me.
It fooled us. Don't let it fool you.
I love it when like a poster's like cheesy art pulls me in and I'm like, it's exactly what I was promised.
Mm-hmm.
Like Cocaine Wars, like, up, that's the guy, that's the girl. Those things up. Or like Hands of Steel. It's like one of the posters. I'm like, whoa, those are all things that actually happened in the fucking movie.
Yes, totally. Nothing on this cover happens in the movie at all. He has this like awesome fucking laser eye. He doesn't have a laser eye.
And, like this one's like it's like a robot eye too, kind of like Terminator.
Yeah.
And like these like weird alien shaped figures with these like spheres and pyramids.
Nope, for sure. This movie sucked. Don't recommend. IMDb scores don't lie. Not good.
That's true. Yeah, it's like 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I would say
Avoid it.
avoid it. Yeah, that about does it for this week.
You know what not to avoid, though? Our Discord channel.
That's right. We're on Discord now.
You can go to discord.io/VHSaturday.
Hell yeah, come chat with us. We're on there all the time.
Talk about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about movies. Talk about the show a lot, but we also talk about like fuck anything else. Cats get brought up a lot.
Yeah.
Talk about cats. Talk about dreams. Talk about robots a whole lot on that channel too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so if any of that sounds interesting to you, come join us over there. But if that's not your thing, you can also follow us on our other social media platforms. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Be sure to subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit our website, VHSaturday.com. Join our mailing list to get all updates whenever we drop a new episode.
We have stickers available. Go ahead and shoot us a DM on any of our social media platforms to order one. But that does just about do it for this week. So
we will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening. But until then, remember, be kind, rewind.